Hey y'all, what's up? Alright, so first let me go ahead and apologize. I've been slacking a little bit, but I'm going to get a little bit caught up. Alright, so today's video is going to have two parts, okay? But they kind of go together. So today what you should have done is 6.14 recap. And I'm also going to throw in yesterday's 6.13. Okay, so equations and inequalities, they kind of go hand in hand. Okay, all right, so let's do the equations part first. Before we get to the equations part, we need to look back over some of the vocabulary. Okay, all right, so let's get to it. All right, so the first thing I want to do is look over the vocabulary. I'm just going to write out an equation. Okay, so I want to write 2x plus 7 is equal to 42. Okay, I just made this up. Okay, so you need to remember the parts. Okay, there's a term, the coefficient, variable. Okay, we also talked about a constant, but this is kind of one of those that you don't exactly have to remember for the test, and that's it. Then you also have an expression, slash equation, blah, blah, blah. Okay, all right, so let's break it down. So the 2, this is the coefficient. Okay, that's the number that's going to be in front of the variable. So I already know this is the variable. Okay, the variable is just a letter. The variable is what we don't know. Coefficient is in front of the variable. The coefficient is what we're going to multiply to the variable. Okay, now these two numbers right here, the 742, we call those the constants because that's the numbers that were by itself. Okay, these are the numbers by itself. Now, the other one you can remember is all the major parts. This is the terms. Okay, that's the terms. The terms are the individual parts. So I have 3 terms here. Okay, 2x is a term, 7 is a term, 42 is a term. Okay, now this entire thing, because I have an equal sign, that's an equation. Because I know this equation is equal to something. Now, if I just had this, no equal sign, this is an expression. Okay, you need to remember which is which. Okay, if you remember it now, this will help you out next year. Okay, all right, so here we go. So number 1, which word best describes the 6 in the equation 6x minus 8 is equal to 21? Well, here's the 6. The 6 is in front of the variable. So that means we're multiplying the 6 times the x, and the number in front of the variable is the coefficient. Okay? All right, number 2, now we're solving. What is the value of x divided by 4 is equal to 3 and 41/100ths? Okay? So what you need to remember is we're dividing here. Okay, that fraction bar means we're going to divide. So I need to remember what's the opposite of division, so we're going to multiply. So I want to rewrite it over here. So I've got x divided by 4 is equal to 3 and 41/100ths. I'm dividing by 4, so I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to multiply by 4. Multiply by 4. These cancel out. I'm left with x. So work it down. 3 and 41/100ths times 4. 1 times 4 is 4. 4 times 4 is 16. Carry the 1. 4 times 3 is 12. 12 plus 1 is 13. 2 places. 2 places. So x 13 and 64/100ths. 13 and 64/100ths. All right, number 3. Look at the equation mat. Okay. I have a key. What is the write an equation and determine the value for x? So I have to do 2 parts here. Okay, 2 parts. First, I need to write the equation. Then I need to solve it. Okay, so I'm going to count first. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, my x's are positive, so plus x equals 4, 7. So there's my equation. Now I need to solve this. Okay, reminder, that plus sign is with the x. Okay, I don't have a sign out in front of here, so I know that's a positive 4 to help myself out. So I need to get rid of that positive 4, so that means I'm going to do the opposite. So I'm going to subtract 4. Since I've subtracted 4 over here, I have to subtract 4 over here. 4 minus 4 is 0, so I'm left with x equals 7 minus 4 is x is equal to 3. Okay. Now, why did I make this a positive 4? Because my key tells me these ball circles are positive. Okay. All right, number 4. Oh, the fraction. Solve for the variable d. So I have 12 is equal to 1/3 times d. So I'm multiplying. So I want to rewrite that to show you. 12 is equal to 1/3 times d. So since I'm multiplying, I've got to divide these. So I got to divide by 1/3. 12 is equal to 1/3 d. So I'm going to divide by 1/3. These cancel out. So I'm going to divide by 1/3. Okay. Remember back when we divided fractions. So I'm going 12. I got to make that over 1, make that a fraction. Divided by 1/3. So 12 over 1. Change that division to multiplication. Flip this fraction to 3 over 1. 12 times 3 is 36. 1 times 1 is 1. 36 divided by 1 is 36. So I know my answer is B. 5. Vicky has a bike odometer that shows how far she travels. She bikes 3 miles to her friend's house, and then both girls bike to the store. When they arrive, Vicky's odometer shows that she's traveled 9 miles in all. Which equation can Vicky use to find the distance d from her house to the beach? Okay. Now, she biked 3 miles to her friend's house, and then they both biked to the store. She showed 9 miles in all. In all. Okay. So it's going to equal 9. It's going to equal 9. Okay. Which equation? Find the distance. I'm pretty sure that should say store. I don't know where beach it's coming from. Okay. So what I'm taking from this is she goes 3 miles to her friend's house, and then they both go blank more to get to the store, which is 9 miles. Okay. Also, the key in all makes me a big clue that I know I'm going to add. We don't know how many she biked, plus the 3 from her house will get me to 9 in all. Okay. We don't know how many she biked from her friend's house to the store, but we know from her friend's house to her house is 3 miles, and it was 9 altogether. Okay. All right, so we can skip over that one. All right, here we go. I have the equation -3 times x is equal to 21. I want to solve for x, so I'm multiplying. So if I need to do the opposite, so I'm going to divide by -3, divide by -3. I'm left with x, okay? That's 21, positive 21 divided by a -3. So a positive divided by a negative is going to give me a negative. So I'm going to go ahead and roll out both of those. 21 divided by 3. What times 3 is 21? 7. Okay. All right, number 2. What value of y makes the sentence true? Okay, so I'm going to have to solve for y. So y plus -3. So yes, I'm adding. Yes, I need to subtract. But I have to subtract -3. If I just subtract the 3, I'm not getting rid of this constant. So I need to subtract -3. So that goes away. I'm left with y. So 30 minus -3. Change that. So change that to addition. Make -3 its opposite, so positive 3. 30 plus 3 is equal to positive 33. 3. Here's another fraction. So 1/4 times n. Okay, so I'm multiplying. So I need to divide. So I'm going to divide by 1/4. 8/1 divided by 1/4. Keep the 8/1. Change my division to multiplication. Make this fraction its opposite or its reciprocal. So that'd be 4/1. 8 times 4 is 32/1. So n is equal to 32. All right, 4. Okay, you just have to write the numbers in the box, okay? So all I wanted to do is I wanted you to tell me how do I solve it. You don't have to solve it, but I'm just wanting to know how do you solve it, okay? So this is n divided by 2, so what's the opposite of division? So I'm going to multiply by 2. So which of those shows multiply by 2? So I'm going to write the number 4 right there. If I'm subtracting 2, I need to do the opposite, so I'm going to add 2. So I'm looking for which one is add 2. So 7. 6 is equal to 2 times n. So if I'm multiplying by 2, I need to do the opposite, so I'm going to divide by 2. So 1. And then 6 is equal to n plus 2. So if I'm adding 2, I need to do the opposite. So I need to subtract 2. So 5. 4, 7, 1, 5. All right, 5. Lori found the value of x and explained her reasoning. 3 times x is equal to 24. Which statement is true? You don't really have to look much into this one if you know your multiplication facts. What times 3 is 24? It would be 8. Because 3 times 8 is equal to 24. 3 times 7 is not 24. 3 plus 24 will give me 27. Yes, that is true. Yes, 3 plus 24 will give you 27. But this is multiplication. We're not adding. 3 times 24 is 72. Well, yes, that is true. But again, we're multiplying, so you had to do the opposite. 6. Which algebraic expression, okay, best represents this number sentence? 5 times the number. Okay, so you just had to figure out which one of these is showing 5 times. So multiplying a number. When you see a number, that's just going to be a variable. Is equal to 75. So which one has 5 times a variable is equal to 75? That one right there. Okay. All right. 10. The equation below can be used to find how much Julie took to the mall, D, in dollars. So D, so that's how much she had to start with, minus $44. So she bought something that was $24. Now she has $22 left. So I need to add back this $44 that she spent somewhere. This goes away, equal to D is equal to $66. So D. Lori has 5 more text messages from Megan than from Katie. Lori has 45 text messages from Megan. How many text messages does Lori have from Katie? 5 times more. Okay, 5 times more. Okay, so 5 times, we don't know how many she sent, and she has 45. So whatever Megan has, we're wanting to know Lori has 5 times that. So divide by 5, divide by 5, x is equal to 9. Okay? All right. So before we move on to the inequalities part, if you have questions, concerns, stop the video, rewind it, or email me, message me in Classroom, hit me up on Facebook, Instagram, the works. Okay? All right. So now we're going to move on to the inequalities part. Okay? Now, the nice thing with the inequalities is you're still going to solve it exactly the same way that you just did an equation. The only difference is now we have, instead of an equal sign, we have some sort of the inequality signs. Okay? Either less than, greater than, less than or equal to, or greater than or equal to. Okay? All right. We've seen these questions before, folks. Okay? These should look very familiar. But let's get to it. All right, here we go. Number 1, look at the following number line. What are 2 ways to write the inequalities graph? Okay, here's what we need to remember first. If that circle is filled in, that means it's closed. It's going to either be less than or greater than with an equal to. Okay, it's going to be equal to. Now, look at your graph. It's going to the right. If it's going to the right, it's going to be greater than. Okay? So I'm going to look for x, because it just gives x, is greater than or equal to -1. Okay? Well, if I look, this is the only one that has x is greater than or equal to -1. Okay, I can go ahead and rule out A, and I can rule out C, because they don't have equal to. Okay? Now, I know this is my true inequality. X is greater than or equal to -1. So I'm looking at numbers like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, million, billion, whatever. Now, I can also rewrite this inequality. This was the tricky part that had a lot of us. Is I can write that number on the left-hand side, and I can put that variable on the right, but I would have to flip that inequality sign. So I would flip it. So both of these inequality signs mean the same thing. X is greater than or equal to -1. X is greater than or equal to -1. So I know my answer is D. Okay. Number 2, which inequality matches the given graph? Okay, I want to write it correctly the first time, because if you notice, all your answer choices have the variable on the right. So if I look, I've got x, it's going to the right, so it's going to be greater than, it's filled in, so equal to, my circle's at -5. Now, I can flip that and put -5 on the left, put x on the right, but I would have to flip that inequality sign. Okay? If I look at my answer choice, I can narrow out B and D because it doesn't have equal to. Okay. Now, here's the problem with C. Yes, they put the variable on the right. Yes, they put -5 on the left. It's correct. But look where it's just signs. That sign is still going to the right. So I know that one's wrong. So I know my answer is A. All right, 3, match the inequalities to the correct graph. Okay, so I know my graph is going to the left, so it's going to be less than. Okay, circle is closed, so it's not going to be equal to. They use the variable x, so I'm just going to go ahead and write variable x on all of them. Okay, and the circle is at -2, so x is less than -2. Okay, same graph again. So it's going to be less than -2, but my circle is filled in. So x is less than or equal to -2. Okay, both of these are going to the right, so I want to go ahead and draw in my greater than sign. But this one is filled in, so it's going to be equal to -2. We're almost finished. Okay, I'm subtracting -5, so that means I have to add -5 plus -5. If I would have just added 5, I'm not getting rid of this constant. So if I'm subtracting -5, I need to add -5. So if I'm adding a negative and negative, it's going to stay negative. So P is greater than or equal to -12 plus 5 is 17. P is greater than or equal to -17. All right, so here are some of those tricky words. Sarah needs to raise at least $40 to attend a concert. Which inequality illustrates how much money Sarah still needs to raise? Okay, if it's saying at least that much money, she needs that, but for her to have a better time at the concert, she needs more than $40. Okay, she can go and have fun with $40, but she can't buy any concessions, she can't buy anything at the gift shop, whatever. She needs more money than that. Okay, so what that means is she needs, it's going to be X $40 greater than or equal to. She can go with 40. She can have exactly 40 and everything would be hunky-dory. But she needs more than that. So my answer is B. Okay. This one, this one, and this one, this one, and this one, both mean less than. Okay? That actually means X is less than 40. Like she needs exactly 40 or more than 40 to go. She can have 40, but she can have less than that? No, because she needs more than that. Okay? Now, this one actually does mean greater than 40, but she needs at least 40. She needs more than that. Okay? All right, number 6. Select the values that are part of the solution set for the following inequality. Okay? So I've got to solve that inequality. Okay, so I'm subtracting -2, so that means I need to add -2. Add -2. Okay, these go away. So -7 plus -2 is -9. Is less than or equal to C. Now, look where the variable is. So that means I need to put my variable on the left because I cannot graph it until that variable is on the left. Flip my sign. So I want to know which of these numbers is either greater than or equal to -9. So we're going to include negative 9. And which other numbers are greater or equal to? So negative 5, negative 7, and negative 4. So I want to know which numbers are greater, so the ones that are closer to 0. And we're also going to include negative 9. All right, last 3 questions. You can't really click on an integer, but you must select all correct answers. Which numbers are a part of the solution set? So I need to solve this one. So if I'm subtracting 3, I need to add 3, add 3. So negative 3 plus 3 is 0, so it goes away. So n is less than negative 6 plus 3 is negative 3. So which of these numbers is less than negative 3? So negative 6 is, and negative 4 is. 8. Riders must be at least, so there's that at least words again, 48 inches tall to ride Turbo Twister, the fastest water slide at Water Country. Which inequality represents the height of riders who may ride Turbo? So you can get away with riding the ride if it's exactly 48 inches. But the people and their lawyers at the water park, they would rather the people be taller than 48. Okay, so you can get away with riding at 48 inches tall. Okay, so I know we're going to have an equal sign, so I'm going to go ahead and rule out B and C. We know we're going to be equal to, but we would rather be greater than that. So I know my answer is A. And last question. Solve the inequality. Y minus 6 is less than negative 13. So I'll need to add 6. Add 6. Y is less than negative 7. All right, folks. So that's the video for today. Hit me up if you have questions. Later.